10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast, episode 462. Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 462 of the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. I have decided that we are going to do another month on Blues for Alice because it's a really complicated tune. So last month we figured out how to make it less complicated, and this month I want to take a completely different approach for all of you out there that really do want to be playing over this in a really particular way. And that particular way would be to actually play over all the harmony, right? Now, it's really important before we start getting into this stuff to understand that the majority of your favorite musicians, they're not playing every chorus thinking about every single chord change. But if we do when our solo calls for it, or for when the inspiration strikes us, or for when we want this sort of texture, we want to have the ability to do it, right? So this is a great way to get started considering every chord change when the harmony is insanely packed, insanely busy. And honestly, I can't really think of a tune that has more harmony than this one, right? I mean, there are so many chord changes in this 12 bars if you are going to pay attention to all of them. You know, it's very similar to something like Giant Steps or Confirmation, another tune that's very, very similar to this tune. So this would be a great sort of method that you can use over dozens of tunes that have really closely packed harmony. And if you feel super defeated when you see something like that, this is going to be a great way to approach any of those tunes. Before we get started, a quick little plug for my online education program, the Jazz Intensive. If you're looking for mentorship and somebody to work seriously with for an entire year in both a group setting and private lesson setting, you may want to consider joining up to the Jazz Intensive. I will leave a link to more information about that program in the description of this podcast. And you can also head to my website, nickmanellamusic.com, and there'll be a link right there on the homepage to learn a little bit more about that. This is for people that have kind of exhausted resources like this and want a little bit more, or want to go deeper on any of these topics and know that they need a little bit of mentorship. And you also get to be around a community of musicians just like you. So that might be something you want to check out. So again, you can check that out in the show notes, or you can go to my website, nickmanellamusic.com, and you can read more, see if that's right for you, and apply to be a part of it. Okay, so let's get on to the episode. So we talked about the fact that we want to put all the harmony in. So what that means is that we are going to be now considering all of the changes. So we were just kind of like thinking over the first 4 bars, like, okay, F. And then we added a few more things to that, right? But now we are going to think about all of this harmonic motion. So now like our first 4 bars becomes. And obviously that's just like a lot of chords, right? Do you hear all the motion? So we start here with a full measure, but then we get chord, 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 come to the 4 chord. So now we're truly playing all the chords that you would find like if you opened up the real book and you were to look at Blues for Alice, okay? So the idea is very simple here. Basically, what we want to start by doing is we want to start by playing 1 note per chord. And that's it, right? So you might be thinking to yourself, oh yeah, Great, Nick. Thank you so much for this advice. But have you ever actually tried to do that and play a note that sounds really, really good over every chord? Because what you might find is that you can't do it. You get to these certain chords and you have no idea what note to play. And this is a really, really good exercise for those people that just need some basic, hey, what are the good sounding notes over this particular chord or this particular series of chords? Or if you don't understand the voice leading between chords, this can be such a great way to, in a very simple fashion, do something that might be really challenging for you, right? So the idea is, can you play one quality note over every chord? And you either prove to yourself you can do it or you can't do it. So like at a really slow tempo, can you do something like this? I'm playing over any measure where there's one chord per bar, I'm playing a whole note. And then over the vast majority of measures where there's two chords per bar, I'm playing half notes. All right, check it out. 2, 3, 4. So it's really basic, but again, not easy. And you might be thinking to yourself, yeah, man, of course I can do this. Then you go to do it, and it's actually a pretty humbling experience. Oh, most of the time I can do it, but you know what? Some of the time I literally have no idea what to play over this chord. I can't, in time, think about a quality note to play over this chord. Okay, so I don't think I need to say anything more about it. I'll say more about it on the next episode, but the assignment is really simple. Play one note over each chord. And here's the cool thing about it. This is an improvisation exercise, isn't it? Because you need to decide in real time what you are going to play in each measure over each chord. And depending on what note you start on, you're going to find all these different paths through the changes, right? Because you'll be close to one chord tone or whatever. Now, if you feel helpless when you start doing this, here are some ways that you can begin. Start with just 1, 3, 5, or 7. So chord tones, right? Aim to play a chord tone over every chord. That would be a great place to start. If you are a little bit beyond that, then all you want to do is you just want to experiment with what notes can I play through this, and really make sure that you listen as you play, right? Because sometimes you're going to try a note, it's not going to sound great, and you basically just want to hear that. Oh, I made this choice and it didn't sound that good. Okay, let's go through again and I'll try for some different choices. But I cannot think of a better way to really learn a progression, because again, you have to pick a note. It's improvisation based because there's no prescription to this. I'm not telling you, hey, play the third over every chord. Nope. You get to pick what note you're going to play over every chord. Okay. Second thing is you are hearing the progression go by many, 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 many times. And there's nothing better than that. Also, as you're hearing the progression go by, you're participating with that progression, but we are taking the pressure off of ourselves to come up with this amazingly musical and badass statement. And we're simply saying, hey, one note per chord. All right. So there's a lot of things we can do after this, all which are going to lead you to playing ridiculously awesome statements. But for now, we just need to do this preliminary work first. And even if you are beyond this, spend a week doing it anyway. I do this all the time in my practice routine. And if you're bored by doing this, it's simply that you need to figure out some different notes to play over the chords. You need to figure out some different ways of approaching, try some new notes. All this kind of stuff can happen regardless of what level you're at. So don't think, if you're a little bit more advanced, don't think you could just skip this exercise. Just do it for a week. And I promise you, no matter what level you're at, this is going to benefit your playing. It's going to get you closer to the progression. And it's just going to be really, really good for you all around. So I will have, for the Patreon members, the PDFs with every single chord in it, fully fleshed out. And I will also have some trading tracks where we go back and forth, chorus by chorus, trading one note per chord, so that you'll get a chance to do one chorus and then you'll get a little bit of a rest. You can hear somebody else do it. Then you go back, do another chorus, so on and so forth. For the $5 members, I will have some trading fours in that same fashion, and you'll have everything you need. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is a listener-supported podcast, so we rely on people like you to keep this thing going. And the way that people support the show is by paying a small monthly donation, and in return for that, you get PDFs and materials and trading tracks for every single episode. So if you want to sign up to support the show, get all the amazing jazz education materials in return for that, you can go to our website, 10minutejazzlesson.com, click on one of the Patreon banners, or you can go to patreon.com and search for the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. Once you get signed up, you get instant access not only to this episode, but to every single episode that we've ever done, which is a lot at this point. This is episode 462, so it represents a huge archive of jazz learning over there. So again, 10minutejazzlesson.com, click on one of the Patreon banners, or patreon.com, search for the 10-Minute Jazz Lesson Podcast. Again, also, if you're interested in mentorship and something that's a little bit more serious, along with a community of great people, we got, group education, private instruction. We also have another fantastic instructor over there, Chris Claxton. You may be interested in the Jazz Intensive. So there'll be a link in the show description, or you can go to nickmanellamusic.com, and right there on the homepage, there's a link to more information, and you can apply to see if you're the right fit for that program. All right, everybody. Hope summer's treating you well so far. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye.